why you feel lost after a spiritual awakening. At some point in your spiritual journey, maybe after a big breakthrough or even a painful breakdown, you probably felt something shift inside. You saw through the lies, the patterns, the noise, and then came the strange silence. At first, it felt powerful, even exciting. But over time, that feeling of meaning, purpose, it just faded. Not suddenly, quietly, like your soul slowly turned down the volume on life and forgot to turn it back up. You stopped chasing things. You stopped caring, not in a dramatic, reckless way, just in a soft, tired, what's the point kind of way. And then the questions started creeping in. Why do I feel numb now that I finally understand the truth? Here's the weird part. We expect spiritual awakening to fill us with energy, passion, joy. But for a lot of people, especially sensitive, introspective types, it does the opposite. It empties us. I had a friend who went through this. Super smart, deeply spiritual, obsessed with Eckhart Tolle, Alan Watts, Krishnamurti. She had a huge awakening after a dark, painful period in her life. She said, "I get it now. I see through the illusion. I see the ego, the chasing, the nonsense." But just 2 months later, she was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to care about anything. She told me, "I used to cry about not doing enough. Now I don't care if I do anything at all. I thought awakening would make me feel alive. Not like this." Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, understood this long before it became popular to talk about. He didn't call it spiritual awakening. He said, enlightenment doesn't come from imagining light. It comes from making darkness conscious. Sounds deep, right? But what does that really mean? Awakening isn't the finish line. It's the start of something harder. The death of your old self. The goals you used to chase, careers, relationships, status, even time itself, start to feel meaningless. But here's the catch. Your ego isn't dead. It's confused. It's lost its map. And without a map, motivation disappears. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not even depressed, at least not in the usual sense. You're just in between. You've woken up from something, but you haven't fully woken up into something new yet. And that's where it gets interesting. What you're feeling right now isn't failure. It's not weakness. It's something ancient, something sacred. Jung warned, the modern world avoids this phase at all costs. This pause, this void, this in-between place. But it's necessary. It's how we become our true selves. It's part of the process Jung called individuation, becoming whole, authentic, true. Nobody tells you about this part. Nobody warns you that awakening might leave you feeling numb, aimless, even hopeless. But that's exactly where the real transformation begins. Your old motivation? It came from your ego, the identity you spent your life building. You wanted to succeed, be loved, prove yourself. That's not wrong. That's just how humans grow. Jung called the persona, the mask we wear to fit into society. But awakening strips the mask away. And suddenly, none of your old goals fit anymore. You're like an actor who's walked off stage and can't figure out their next line. You didn't lose motivation. You outgrew the fuel that was driving you. Jung said, we're not here to serve the ego. We're here to integrate it, to align with something deeper. Not the small self that wants praise, but the deeper self that wants truth. And this deeper self, it doesn't care about status, or clarity, or timelines. It cares about authenticity. And once awakening happens, your psyche starts cleaning house. It rejects anything fake, anything forced. Jobs, relationships, even your old 5-year plan, gone. That's why awakening feels freeing, but also terrifying. But Jung warned, if we stop here, we get stuck. Some people awaken, then float, numb, detached. They mistake disconnection for enlightenment. But your deeper self doesn't want you to disconnect. It wants you to redefine your role in the world. This in-between phase, it's ancient. Myths call it the hermit phase. It's the death before rebirth. It's the caterpillar turning into goo inside the cocoon. Not a bug, not a butterfly, just goo. And goo doesn't hustle, doesn't grind. It dissolves. This is where the ego panics. It wants action, identity, direction. But the deeper self whispers, let go. I'm building something better. Modern spirituality often skips this part. It says just follow your joy. High vibes only. But Jung would say, if you avoid the darkness, you avoid the gold. Facing your shadow, the parts of you buried, isn't extra credit. It's the core of real healing. That emptiness you feel, that's not failure. That's your unconscious finally rising to the surface. Your psyche is wise. It will stall your motivation on purpose, so you're forced to sit still and listen. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop fighting this pause, something new begins to stir. A different kind of motivation. Quieter, deeper, not hustle, not fear, not proving. Something that feels like remembering. Jung called this the emergence of the self, not as an idea, as a living inner compass. After the void comes the pull, not lightning bolts, not fireworks, just small nudges, little whispers, not to return to your old life, but to create a new one. This new motivation doesn't come from fear or pressure. It comes from alignment. You stop chasing clarity. You start recognizing it when it arrives. Living from this deeper self won't always feel easy. You'll still have moments of doubt, confusion, exhaustion. That's being human. But what you won't feel, that constant ache of dragging yourself through a life that no longer fits. Instead, you'll notice yourself creating, even when no one's watching. You'll say no to things that look good on paper, but feel wrong inside. You'll follow curiosity, not checklists. You'll choose peace over performance. This is a new fuel, not adrenaline. Alignment, not hustle. So, Jung called this living symbolically, where dreams, signs, synchronicities guide you more than logic. In real life, it looks like asking better questions. Not what should I do, but what quietly calls me. Not what's the plan, but where is life nudging me? Not how can I prove myself, but what feels honest. You start participating with life, not try and control it. You don't give up ambition, you transform it. Ambition becomes devotion to truth, presence, and growth. And ironically, that's the energy that actually gets things done. But now it's sustainable. It's authentic. It's soul-powered. The deeper self creates, serves, heals, teaches, not because it should, because it feels right. So if you're feeling like your spark is gone after awakening, it's not gone. The old fire burned out, so you can find a deeper flame, one that won't flicker every time the world changes. Jung never promised this would be easy, but if you're here reading this, you're already on the path. This isn't the end of your awakening. It's the beginning of your becoming.